Morning, y'all. This is Deacon Salty Balls back at y'all with a new kind of pop up late night. Um, I think a lot of my greatest thinking comes in the middle of the night, early morning, or whatnot. So I figured let me go ahead and tackle this and see what we got here. Moral panic and this space, modern day. Um, what I aim to do is actually show how the phenomenon of black male self advocacy is tantamount to moral panic in today's world. I'm going to go ahead and make the case here. Um, I'm going to start with defining moral panic from the context of a Stanley Cohen from the late 1960s, early 70s, and what does that mean for today, and how do we um, move towards a debunking campaign? Because that's exactly what it is. Okay. Um, Looks like we got some other people up. Salute, salute. And for those who are either cloud watching or going to catch me on the replay, salute to y'all. Shout out to y'all. And I wanted to go on ahead and tackle this because, it's a part of social psychology. I know this week I will be collaborating with Kosher Clinician, particularly at Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific. Okay. So while we're on the mode of psychology, I want to go on ahead and tackle this from a social, psychological standpoint, from the aspect of moral panic. Okay. Let me go on ahead first by defining moral panic. Let me go on ahead and, actually operationalize the definition for everybody. Okay. According to Oxford, moral panic, a mass movement based on the false or exaggerated perception that some cultural behavior or group of people is dangerously deviant and poses a threat to society's values and interests. Moral panics are generally fueled by media coverage of social issues. The phenomenon was first described in 1972 in relation to the mods and rocker groups of the 1960s. Since then, moral panics have occurred in relation to ritualistic Satanist abuse that was perceived to be widespread in the 80s. And obviously, I'm not going to say that other word there, which led to vigilante action against innocent people. Okay, let me go on ahead and stop sharing that. That's the overall definition. Okay, let me go on ahead and take a deep dive a little more as far as the stages of moral panic. As I lay this out, I'm going to make the case that, black men in these spaces, whether it's SYSBM, Passport Bros, or just, black men involved with, the red pill space in general, and how this tantamounts to Stanley Cohen's stages of moral panic. Okay. So let me go on ahead and also share the definition as operationalized through Stanley Cohen. Now, one could argue that, Wikipedia isn't the best sources. Don't make a general practice to use Wikipedia as best sources. But for all intents and purposes, we're going to use this here today. They do have some sources that they actually point to if you all want to take a little more of a deep dive, okay, here. And I'll leave the link just so you all can do some in-depth analysis a little later if you feel the need to do so, okay? So let me go on ahead and start with reading this first paragraph here. In a more recent edition of Folks and Devils and Moral Panics, Cohen suggested that the term panic in itself connotes irrationality and a lack of control. Cohen maintained that panic is a suitable term when used as an extended metaphor. Setting out to test his hypothesis on mods and rockers, these are people of the late 1960s, Cohen discovered a pattern of construction and reaction with greater foothold than mods and rockers, the moral panic. Okay, these are the 5 key elements that exist when it comes to moral panic. Okay, according to Cohen, there are 5 essential stages in the construction of a moral panic: an event, condition, episode, person, or group of persons is perceived and defined as a threat to societal values, safety, and interests. Number 2, the nature of these apparent threats are amplified by mass media, who present the supposed threat through simplistic, symbolic rhetoric. Such portrayals appeal to public prejudices, creating evil and need of social control, folk devils, and victims, the moral majority. 3, a sense of social anxiety and concern among the public is aroused through the symbolic representations of the threat. 4, the gatekeepers of morality, editors, religious leaders, politicians, and other moral, quote unquote, thinking people respond to the threat. Okay? Hey, salute. Salute, brother. Okay? And then this includes new laws or policies. The condition then disappears, emerges, or deteriorates and becomes more. Cohen observed further. Sometimes the object of panic is quite novel, and at other times it is something that has been in existence long enough but suddenly appears in the limelight. Sometimes the panic passes over and is forgotten except in the folklore and collective memory. At other times, it is serious and long-lasting repercussions and might produce such changes, those in legal or social policy, or even the way society conceives itself. Okay, let's talk about the actors here. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the actors. I'm not going to take too much of a deep dive because a lot of them are more or less pretty obvious. Okay, so the media, especially key in the early stage of social reaction, producing process or coded images of deviance and the deviants. This involves 3 processes: exaggeration and distortion of who did or said what. 2, prediction, the dire consequences of failure to act. 3, civilization signifying a person, word, or thing as a threat. Moral entrepreneurs, individuals or groups who targets deviant behavior. So societal control culture, comprises of those with institutional power, the police, the courts, and local, national politicians. They are made aware of the nature of the extent of the quote-unquote threats. Concern is passed up the chain of command to the national level where control measures are instituted. The public, these includes individuals or groups. They have to decide who and what to believe. In the mod and the rocker sense, the public initially distrusted media messages, but ultimately believed them. Okay, let me go on ahead and actually make this sort of comparative aspect as to what does this have to do with the space. Okay, with this particular space, with Black male advocacy and agency, there's always been an animus to Black men, being able to have the sort of right to self-determination. The roots of moral panic, which affected Black men early on, was during the Reconstruction era, right after slavery, the initiation of Jim Crow, where Black men had gained the right to vote. And Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton made the case that Black men would be more and more like quote unquote savages out there with the ability to vote to compromise white women's virtue. Okay. This led us on to a trajectory for one would deem modern day feminism. It was proto-feminism at that time. Okay. But what we're seeing today is the products of more or less 100 years of moral panic, and it's a culmination of it. Okay. So during the sort of Niagara Falls conference, I want to say Niagara convention or whatever the case they call it, there's a fallout. And due to that fallout with Black men being able to vote, you had some bitter upper class white women who decided that they wanted to inject their sort of racist ideology into Black women. For example, ain't I a woman? Right? Sojourner Truth joining in on the fray to speak out against Black men. Okay? That led to the sort of Jim Crow era of the United States in the Gilded Age, where we had one would you call the era of birth of a nation, where there's this sort of mass panic of quote unquote Negroes going around and, you know, taking women's virtue. Okay. And from that Jim Crow era, more like the Empire Strikes Back, particularly white womanhood and the sanctity of it. Black men, of course, de jure, by virtue of law, was on records able to vote, but de facto, we all know what happened, particularly in the South, with this sort of propaganda put out there. Now, Black men have truly earned the fruits of their labor after the Civil War. I mean, there were Black senators, there were businesses being built. There's all kinds of stuff that people do not want to talk about. Okay, let me go ahead and take a quick pause here and salute the gentleman that's entered the chat. Salute, Mr. O with the info. How you doing, brother? How you doing? Let me go on ahead. Rent you up, bro. Rent you up. Salute, Machismo TV, my channel brethren. How you doing, bro? Morning, man. Y'all are up, man. Up really, really early, man. I thought I was gonna do a fly-by night. You know what I mean? A ninja can't do none of that, I figured, I was gonna do my little late night introspective. Yeah. Thank y'all for being here. Yeah, y'all up, man. Y'all up. Okay, so let me go on ahead and get back to the topic at hand. Okay, so moral panic. Let me go on ahead and talk about the elements here and actually translate them to how does that have to do with contemporary times. Okay, right? So we just went over Cohen's model, Stanley Cohen. Okay, an event, a condition, episode, a person, or group of persons is perceived and defined as a threat to societal values, safety, and interests. That's the first element. Okay, let me go on ahead and make sure I reshare just so that you all can see. Okay, right? Right? So in this case, Black men in this space, right? Advocating for ourselves, right? There's terms like public health crisis being used against us, like we're somehow or another wishing someone a harm, that we're narcissists, and that we're quote unquote exploiting women overseas, whether or not that's true is is moot, because it's kind of like, if there's laws in that country where people are able to engage with adults, that's their business, that's their but many black men just want to travel, and all of a sudden there's some sort of a attention and hyper surveillance pointed out to that. Meanwhile, you have people in the Gambia and Jamaica and Tanzania and all these other places projecting some of the things that they actually do onto us. Okay, so we're considered more or less a threat. Okay, now number two, the nature of these apparent threats are amplified by mass media. Okay, let me go on ahead and zoom in just so you all could see this here. Right? Are you all able to see this? Y'all put a 1 in the chat if you're able to see this for me. Okay. Y'all do me that favor real quick. Okay. Well, hybrid cuts out. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ray. All right. All right. So, number two, the nature of these apparent threats are amplified by mass media, who present the supposed threat through simplistic, symbolic rhetoric. Such portrayals appeal to public prejudices, creating evil in need of social control. Those damn folk devils and the victims. Okay, so they say this space is full of incels and weirdos and stuff like that. People like to point out to the New York subway shooting, and obviously the issue that happened in Isla Vista, which is Santa Barbara. Okay, these are very, very, very isolated incidences. But of course, when people engage in a sort of smear campaign of misogynoring or femicide and so forth, mass media kind of caters to that. Okay, recently there was this unfortunate instance, and God bless her soul. I like to extend my condolences to this young lady who passed away recently out in Alabama. Her name was Mahogany Jackson, mother of 3. Okay. Now, some of these places and YouTubers are putting out there that 8 black men went out and brutally raped and assaulted this mother of 3. And when you go and fact find and you do some discovery, you find that the ringleaders of this particular instance were women, particularly women who's part of the giblet community. Right? Okay. And then you have, a couple of errant idiots involved, right? You all can look it up. Okay. The whole Mahogany Jackson, right? And when it was convenient to use it as a weapon to consider black men as a threat, to kind of validate their sort of sick folk devil in the terms of the sort of moral panic jargon, they spread it around. But now that the details are coming out, not so much. Okay, mass media is the vehicle in which it's distributed. This is why I say to you, brethren, use critical thinking tools, use them against thine enemies, smite thine enemies with the truth. Okay, identify the fallacies, okay, the cognitive distortions and those sorts of things. This is how you kind of discredit and debunk the bullshit. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, a sense of social anxiety and concern among the public is aroused through symbolic representations of the threat. Okay. All right, let me go on ahead and take a pause here and take that question. We filled it here. Okay. Clay, what happened? Okay, so what happened was apparently, I guess some of these details are kind of sort of coming out. Do you remember the situation in Mexico where the friends kind of set up one particular girl for her to be jumped? Okay, and she was deleted. She was left there in Mexico. Well, a similar thing recently happened, I want to say in Birmingham, Alabama, with a one Mahogany Jackson. She's a mother of a 3-year-old. She was brutally raped, okay? And, set to the side of the road and execution style, deleted, okay? Now, the ringleaders to all of that were, 4 Giblet community folks. Okay, you can look it up. Okay, it's out there, right? That's what happened. Okay, nobody wants to talk about it, but when it was convenient and they wanted to castigate it, like, oh, well, this is 8, black men who did it. It caters to the sort of, stereotype and the sort of moral panic they want to create to view us as a threat in the first place. Okay? But y'all watch out for that story. I encourage you all to spread the sort of truth about it and make it clear who was actually, the people who were the ringleaders. Now, with 8 people involved, 8 suspects, allegedly, right? But 4 of those 8 suspects were women. And guess what? They were the ringleaders and actively participating in violence in the grape. And directed people to do things on to this. Directed the victim to do things to the guys who were present. Just check it out. Answers your questions, Clay. Salute, Glow. Salute. What's up, man? Looks like you up early. Towards the end, I might just go ahead and open this up as a panel for further analysis with some people. So people want to come up, as I make this case, I will. Okay, but let me go ahead back to the topic at hand. Number 3, the third element, a sense of social anxiety and concern among the public is aroused through these symbolic representations of the threat. Symbolic representations, particularly now when it comes to black men, is any sort of black man with a passport. Ain't that funny? Any black man who has a channel on YouTube and speaking his mind, right? Any sort of black man who's dressed up and, using terms such as, what do you bring to the table? Or high value man, which isn't, presenting any sort of imminent threat to anybody, but the fact that we have standards, right? But those are low level. But what is, the sort of symbolic stuff is them taking random examples of violence that would have otherwise have occurred one way or the other and try to make the case that this is due to the quote unquote rhetoric of the space, and that's not the case. Who's to say that any of these people were actually tuned in? Okay, right. Okay. Salute, Kills. Thanks for stopping through. All right, let me go on ahead and go to the next one. The gatekeepers of morality, editors, religious leaders, politicians, and other quote-unquote moral thinking people respond to the threat with socially accredited experts pronouncing their diagnosis and solutions to the threat. This includes new laws and policies. That lady, allegedly for Harriet, Kimberly Nicole Foster, right? The whole public health crisis of black men, right? The so-called, skewed statistics with femicide, right? The exaggerated reports of rape and DB, right? Doesn't it sound about right? In our case, the gatekeepers of morality, so-called morality, would be the academy, okay? The septum wearers, okay? The Selsun Blue dyed hair people, right? The sort of talk show hosts, the coaches, all those people who've been, lambasting black men for basically, having their own sort of opinion about things. Ebony K. Williams, all right? People like that, okay? Yep, sensationalist BS. We already know what time it is, okay? The condition then disappears, submerges, or deteriorates and becomes more visible. Okay? Right? So, let me go on ahead and, just kind of have you all think critically, about this and what this means. You know what I mean? Right? This is something that, we got to be mindful of in a sort of socio-political environment. Right? If we're able to kind of move, right? Another thing I want to actually provide to you all, okay? On the other side of it, there is something called Overton window. Okay? I want to go on ahead and tell you that which kind of counters moral panic is our consistency, our doubling down. Okay? Our sonic army out there. Our brothers who's actually consistently speaking to the talking points day in and day out. Okay? Let me go on ahead and go over Overton's window. Okay? All right. So Overton's window, as you all can see, was pioneered by this policy analyst, Joseph Overton. Okay? In application to the elements of Overton's window to our space, Black male advocacy, and our own self-determination, there is hope. Let me speak to that. Here's the degrees in which, there is the sort of public response to the space. At first, it is considered unthinkable, right? That is somehow or another profane for us brothers to speak the way we do, unapologetically. Then it moved on to, those are radical ideas. But with the late, great Kevin Samuels and his ability to kind of demonstrate some sort of logical prowess and debunk, and debates and engage in social commentary for 3 years, right? Among others, have made it a little more acceptable for people to kind of speak about these things in an open and normal platform. Now, I would say that we're in between radical and acceptable, right? I would say that because you still have people calling people's jobs and, trying to quote unquote assemble the people with, pitchforks and fire. And, we already know how that goes. Okay. But the next stages is acceptable, sensible, popular, and policy. As long as there's brothers who continue to enter this space and join the Sonic Army, okay, and speak your mind and contribute, right? You kind of overwhelm that sort of public discourse. We'll be able to hold the line, unwavering, marching forward, smiting our enemies with the sword of truth and the shield of accountability. That's how we're going to do it, right? And how we do it is through empiricism, facts, numbers, analysis, like this. Just so you all understand the context and the value of this, right? I don't want you all to get this sort of change blindness. You all know what change blindness is, right? Change blindness is the sort of fallacy of the present. Because you're in the present, it doesn't necessarily mean things ain't changing on your behalf, right? It's like going to the gym, you know, looking for some immediate results. 9 times out of 10, somebody else is going to tell you that there's been different results than you see. So we have to be mindful about that sort of change blindness, because there are things that's changed, right? People have been tired of it. People have been, you know, addressing these things one way or another, okay? You're starting to see movements out in South Asia, right, with the Indians. You're starting to see people in Europe addressing their issues. Russia, Asia, right? There's escape velocity. The cat is out of the bag, okay? So at this point, I'm going to go on ahead and open up for a panel, okay? I'm going ahead and open it up for, you know, further discussion. For those who want to discuss this, we're going ahead and break this down. And if not, you know, I'm just going to go on ahead and wrap up the show. I just, you know, figure, you know, why not wake up in the middle of the night and, you know, punch out with a little something. You know what I mean? Hey, morning, Dre. We're going ahead. Morning, man. Y'all up here early. Y'all are up. Y'all are up. Okay. So those who want to come up and add to the combo, you all could. But, you know, we have to be mindful of, you know, this space as a sort of, would you say, phenomenon, a modern day phenomenon of moral panic, right? And we need to label it as such, okay? We need to make it very, very clear that, you know, because us brothers, you know, decide to, you know, speak our mind about things, about what we're going through and what our options are, and educating other brothers, providing public education and warnings and, you know, taking heed to, you know, all these different things going on, particularly, you know, the court system, right? Proxy violence, okay? DV, you know, false accusations, all this sort of thing that, you know, that it is moral panic and moral panicking, right? The sensationalism, dog whistle, right? These are, you know, the sort of bricks and bats that you all need to kind of combat such behavior. All right. We got somebody in the back. Let me give it a couple more seconds, see if somebody else want to come up. But this is what I want you all to have. You know, so when we're out there engaging in public debate and discourse, this is how you debunk it. All right. Let me go on ahead and bring fellow brethren up here, Mr. O with the info. Salute, bro. Salute.
What's going on, Salty Ball? How you doing?
Good morning, man.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you. I see we both up early. I'm getting this work done. I'm at my little square job. Being the birds chirping, the skies is blue and cloudy here in this cold ass city of Chicago.
Oh, I know what time it is with that. City of broad shoulders, second city, windy city, man.
Yes, you know it. You know it.
Miles sauce and Italian Fiesta pizza.
You already know it. Time Fiesta, that's the best piece. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got Giordano's, we got Illuminati's, but the real people know about Time Fiesta on the South Side. So you know about the real piece.
Yeah,
Shout out
hey,
to you,
that
South
should tell you. Hey, that should tell you. I didn't spend a little time there, huh?
Yes. And the one is the best ones around my neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? But we ain't gonna get to that. But you know, the Kimberly Fosters of the world, you know, these women that want to go ahead and use, like you said, massage and war, whatever that is. You know, shout out to Ask Harriet, shout out to the Griot for coming up with the crazy terms. And shout out to to these modern millennial women that basically trying to get a grasp of what's reality is really trying to tell them and show them before it's too late. But I mean, let's be real. Let's be real. We're gonna be hearing this all the way into the old folks home in the 2050s and 60s, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is where it is. But just like they slow walked it with Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony, which we were all quote unquote taught that these were heroes of the women. Where there's propagandizing that, giving you this stuff in elementary, not knowing that these women ain't give two fucks about you as a black man. Ain't that a bitch?
Facts, like you mentioned before, Sojourner Truth. Don't forget about Ida B. Wells. You know, the feminists, the prominent feminazis, I like to call them, the late 19th and early 20th centuries. They basically are used as catalysts for the modern feminists of today, but they got it wrong. See, at least the ones back in those days, let's say we get them a leeway. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's say they'll actually fight for like symbolic victories of equality. You know, they just want to work. They just want to go ahead and show like we just not some bitch ran through us so that you could use and abuse. That's cool. But we got these women today. Like I got an article. I wish my computer was up and running. I'm gonna go make a video about this. Hey, I think you should do one too. It's a 40-year-old woman, accomplished. She got a worthless degree in psychology, but she's in real estate, and she's basically saying that she's doing fine. But through the whole entire article, all she do is complain about the men and the options that she supposedly only have, despite having all these accolades, despite having all this supposedly adjusted wealth, the delusional branch of all this education that she absorbed. Now she's going into middle age with no kids, no marriage options, and they still want to say it's all Jermaine's fault, Salty Balls.
Well, Mr. O with the info, it's funny that you say that. It's ironic that I seen last night O'Shea. Shout out to O'Shea for covering this, but he was talking about the concept I would label as price discrimination. Okay, for you as a black man in this Western world, there's all these sorts of unrealistic standards, right? Game and cars and luxury and all this other crazy stuff that you need to have versus them going over to places like the Gambia and Senegal and going and getting a Renadred and that sort of thing, right? And there's absolutely no standards there, right? So just as they're using terms, right, we have to go on ahead and actually use our terminology to adequately address this phenomenon. So what's entered into the lexicon today for use is moral panic. I want to repeat, moral panic. Also price discrimination, right? Higher standards for you because there's this sort of internal sort of prejudice. Now, yes, indeed, the sort of it's all Jermaine's fault and you obviously couldn't get a man, right? The sort of unrealistic and unnecessary sort of standards and stuff like that. Because, quite sneakily, that sort of hypergamy kicks in and they really want to be with a white man. They don't want to say it, but that's what it is. Okay.
Oh, they show it. They show it. I mean, they project it. See, we might be the highest apex predator walking on two legs, and we got this thing called frontal lobe. We think at a conscious level higher than all the other mammals, but at the end of the day, we're still animals. We still have a base instinct. So women are going to be drawn to the aid, supposedly strongest and most affluent male in society. unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, the status don't matter as long as the wealth and the status matters. So, okay, you want to go ahead and get top shelf on Chad. That's cool if you can get him, but you'll go ahead and kick down a brother that's making at least the lower end of six figures, got his nose clean, got some swag, some debonair to him stuff. Might not be a street thuggo, got that street swag that y'all so called posing desire, but he holds his own in no matter what kind of form and fashion. But you'll always settle for a bottom shelf grad that's not even making 5,000 to 3,000 and 5,000 more than a regular black man that you could walk past in the streets.
Exactly.
And to add on to your point, and not to go ahead and criticize the brothers that's under 6 feet, because I'm gonna tell you like this: I'm over 6 feet. I'm 6 foot 2.5, and I'm in good shape, 200 pounds even. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not no lazy, out of shape guy. You know what I'm saying? Basically, you say I could be in the top model candidates. But guess what? They still have a goalpost moving for me. They'll say, "Oh, you're not economically attractive enough." I'll be like, "And how much money do you make, beloved?"
Oh, these are the same people who, who are on buses and, weaves and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? Trying to be pretend Becky. But on the other side of it too, you do see quote unquote people saying things like black men are quote unquote the most privileged when, you say we're not running HR departments, right? Okay. We're not, at governmental agencies, being bureaucrats and having, fucked up attitudes. We're not, the people out there who are, allegedly delaying passports and things like that. You know what I mean? We're not, teachers trying to stall black male growth, by not fostering thinking in a classroom. We'll take that little boy and, not look at the way he learns and actually use that as an impetus to suspend him and introduce him to school to prison pipeline, right? I just seen the other day, and I want you all to look this up. There's something called HBCU Confessions. Go on Instagram and look it up, okay? Where this lady...
I've seen one.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Jeff. I want you to see if you've seen what I've seen. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
So basically, the majority of the B-Dub want to major in a thing called social sciences and social services, and basically, the majority of them do get into these HR fields, in which they basically job block the black man and bring in the sister in because they feel more quotas and they part of the sisterhood. You know what I'm saying? Black male bad, women good. We got to go ahead and look for the sisterhood. So they're gonna basically and also if you ain't hitting on the looks department, if you're not a Chad either, they really ain't gonna let you get high, and they really gonna move the goalposts, and they really gonna talk about black ass.
Well, you know what? Yes, indeed. That's the long range outcomes. Very much so. That's the long range. But if you've seen it, you might have seen it, right? There is this particular post, and you all look it up. Look on HBCU Confessions. Please look it up. Instagram or Twitter, wherever it is, okay? There's this post about this lady where a mother asked a particular high school counselor for a letter of recommendation on behalf of her son to attend a HBCU. And what was said in the post was, I don't give letters of recommendation to black males. I give them only to young black women. And not only that, it's because there's not enough, quote unquote, black women in college, and that black men are already privileged and all this other crap. And she said, who's going to check me, boo boo? And that lady needs to understand the power of the sisterhood. This is what was said. You all can look it up. Okay. Now let me answer this. This side question here. By the Black Toxic Masculinist. Okay. Price discrimination equals black men starting in black hole. Very much so. If I'm understanding right, if I'm understanding what you're saying right, so it basically means that you could take a bottom shelf Brad, okay, no game, no gear, no gun, no nothing, right? And obviously, the sort of price that she may have for engagements or investment for dating, like she's willing to go out on a coffee date or an ice cream date or all these different things with him. But when you come to a black man, he has to be 6'6" with 6-inch dick, 6-pack, and six figures, and 6'6", the devil's quotient when it comes to the black men. I'm going to label it that just so it'll be easier to translate. The devil's quotient: 6 foot or better, 6 figures or better, 6-pack, and 6-inch dick, okay, or better, right? Okay, so these are all the things that they want from us. But when it comes to obviously bottom shelf Brad, the devil's quotient does not apply. Okay, right? So here's the thing, okay, to kind of bring it back home, okay? Mr. O with the info, okay? Moral panic, okay? Do you think that I made an adequate case today that, the sort of modern social commentary that us brothers are having is being equivalated to one would deem as a modern version of moral panic? What are your thoughts about that? Do you think I adequately made the case?
Not only you made the case, you articulated very well. It's become a basically a modern fallacy for both black men and women of all age groups, specifically the boomer and older Gen Xers, like we got Boyce Watkins and Umar Johnson. They're still trying to give you the same old good deal of yesteryear, but not trying to go ahead and tell you about the modern disadvantages of trying to appeal to the so-called traditional values of the so-called black community, in which they want you to go ahead and shout out to Tia Son Johnson for giving me this illustrious term called CompuServe. They want you to be a CompuServe into the community at no fault of your own. You do everything right, check all the boxes, and they still want you to go ahead and fall on your proverbial swords for some of these rambunctious, promiscuous women, the 304s that basically can't do no wrong and they above reproach. Your mother's black, she did the same thing back in 1940, 50, 60, 70. So you're supposed to be used to this black man. You ain't bottom shelf Brad, you ain't even top shelf Chad. How dare you criticize a black woman and black man that basically support this shit? They're gonna look at you like, oh, you messing up a good thing. You messing up my game, and that all I gotta do is say these sweet nothings. They gonna give me everything I want, so I ain't gotta do shit. But make us look bad even worse. So it's twofold, and you did a good job explaining it for both ends.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Oh man, y'all are up, man. Y'all are up bright and early. You know what I mean? Y'all black men who's getting about y'all day so that y'all can be productive and stuff like that. One thing I'm gonna really push out here. Once again, the mission of Machismo TV. Okay, I'm part of that network. Okay, is empiricism, actionable steps, and collaboration. Okay, part of the collaboration mission is to promote other brothers in the space and a diversity of opinions and whatnot, because we're dealing with a sort of quote unquote automated enemy. Okay, AI, right? Channel suppression. We already know what that's about, right? But the more voices, the more we're able to overtake the algorithm. Okay, having the sort of Hydra effect. Salute, contractor. What's up, man? Morning, channel brother. But with that being said, Mr. O, it has come to my knowledge, that you are a content creator as well. Would you? Am I wrong in that assessment?
Oh, I'm a content creator. I just getting back into the swing of things. trying to mix up my content, not try to get too divvied up into the so-called fake gender war that we have amongst our own, and not trying to get caught up in this political climate too much. But I do have some points that I want to get addressed and across through this political landscape. To basically ask the so-called community that I was basically ousted out of, ridicule, told I was all type of isms and issues and everything. I also want to ask the so-called ones that voted for all this catastrophe that's coming into my city, my neighborhood, my town with the migrant crisis, all the crazy crime, all these so-called legal ramifications, and all these taxes that's bring upon me. What have Kamala Harris and Joe Biden done for you lately, black woman and black man respect?
Well, we already know the answer. What that is, we already know what Joe Biden and his crime bill. We already know what Kamala, other than thinking that this is some sort of, TV show like Scandal, right, or How to Get Away with Murder, or some other crap like that. And she's acting on her sort of templated programming as such, and reaping the benefits of, data boy, and dog pats on the head, because obviously she's the bulldog of, and we already know what she's the tool of. But I think that you have a voice, you've been around or whatnot. I know this to be true. And I want to make sure that, the mods, if you all could do me the favor of dropping Mr. O with the info's link, okay? Make sure y'all drop it. And for those that are here, make sure you all subscribe. We need a diversity of voices out there, so that we have this sort of quote unquote sonic army, okay, right? And remember these terms today, okay? Moral panic, price discrimination, right? So just like they have multi-syllabic words to use against us, we have multi-syllabic words that we can put out there, right? Okay, right? What else did you all learn about today, right? There's other political terms, right? I want y'all on the replay to think about these things and look them up, right? So you all know how you all are being politically affected. Overton's window. It was also brought up today, okay? Right? So our ability to kind of engage in this sort of in-depth analysis from this sort of standpoint actually gives us the sort of means to do so. Now, we do have doctors in this space. They're the think tank. They're the research division, right? Now, we need to begin to operationalize this stuff in sort of day-to-day interactions when we go out there and speak our points and engage with our opposition, because we already know that, what they're about, okay? Now, as I wind this down, Mr. O with the info, I want to go ahead and ask you this very, very, very tough question, man. I know you're a Chicagoan, and you already know what's coming, man. You already know what's coming. You ready for it, Mr. O? You ready for it?
I'm a Chicago. I'm ready for everything and anything, bro. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, man. I don't want to cause no civil war up in here, man. I don't, y'all know how y'all do, man. Y'all, watch my feet. And, y'all be on top of cars and buildings and, shit y'all don't like, that drill. I don't want it to be no damn drill war over this. But the question is, Uncle Remus or Harold's?
Unfortunately, I can't because I like both. I like the quality of Harold's chicken, but I love the Uncle Remus sauce. So I'm a real Chicago. I can't go against it.
So
Sorry.
you said I'm gonna just leave that one alone.
Yeah, I could. Hey, when Uncle Remus came to the south side from the west side, I was still like, man, Harold's the best and everything. So I tried that sauce, but it is what it is. Harold, you still got good sauce too, but man, Uncle Remus,
You said, so for y'all that's hearing this, y'all can catch Mr. O with the info somewhere on 43rd trying to sneak. Get a little, is it 43rd or 47th trying to sneak his ass and get him some Uncle Remus, man. Man,
man.
South Side Carter way, man.
Yeah, man, nah, man. I still love the one over there on what that is, Luke. No, that's not Lucas. It's right there on 83rd, man. I love that one right there, man. Yeah, man. But I hate to say it though, Uncle Remus got that sauce.
They do. They do. They got they got that fire bread too. They got that
Yes,
fire
it is.
bread.
Hey,
Hey,
I'm gonna tell you about a little gym too. That a lot of people don't know about. Barbecue spot called Sunny D's. If you're looking for some good barbecue on a good healthy side, they got good turkey options. If you don't mess with the swine, but they got the swine too. But now they sauce. Now you want to go ahead and talk about sauces? A lot of people on the south side don't want to talk about that little staple. But I'm gonna give you a little gym right there. The next time coming to the city,
oh hell yeah! I'm gonna go
right there on
ahead and
69.
check it out.
Yeah,
I'm
around
gonna go
69,
ahead.
bro.
Okay, I'm gonna most definitely take a look at that, man. Chicago's kind of like a second home, so I'm most definitely, I have my little stops at Vegan Soul and other little places and things like that. But yeah, I'll be sure to take a stop by there. So, with all being said, any final comments you like to provide?
No, I gotta get back to my little square, little security jizzab, gotta get back to the jizzab. But salute to you, Machismo TV, Salty Boss, continue with black male content, since you're empowering the black male of today, since specifically myself and younger generations that's coming up and listen to this type of content. You be well and be safe, and I'll hope to see you on other channels and come back to your channel in the future, bro. Have one good one.
Thank you, Chi-Town brother. I appreciate the love, Mr. O, with the info. Y'all be sure to subscribe and support that brother there. Very much a staple in this space. He has a lot to offer. Um, I guess my sort of closing thoughts is, moral panic is, a phenomenon when it comes to us today, and we need to deem it as such. Okay, we really do, because it's sort of exaggerated sensationalism is dangerous and dangerous to our being. Because as you all seen there, political, social policies and laws can be created with people just kind of you bringing alarm and dog whistling. Okay, lying. They out here lying. Okay. I say three things I want you all to be mindful of. Some terms is price discrimination. Okay, right? We have to pay a higher price, quote unquote, for the same that Brad would pay much lower for. Okay, this is why brothers are saying, in the dating market, because it's very much that I'm taking my options elsewhere. I can get far better products. Software is flawless. Their thinking is flawless, right? And obviously, we already know that hardware, that ass. And them taking care of themselves is, very much there. So price discrimination, moral panic, as you all just recently learned about, and then of course, Overton's window. Okay, right. So with that being said, I will do another random pop up next week, but I want you all to keep your eyes out for Sunday at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 11 o'clock Pacific Time, for collaboration with myself and Kosher. We're going to talk about Black men and mental health in particular. Okay. I think it'll be valuable for people to learn about this. So I think that, you all should keep your eyes out on that. So it'll be Kosher Clinician at Machismo TV. He may be cross streaming, but you all keep an eye out for it. And with all being said, shout out to you all, Black men. Remember, the sword is the truth, the shield is accountability, and you all hold the line. We're building a sonic army here. Salute to Machismo TV. Salute to the contractor and Lo Hardy and everybody else who came here this morning. Andre 416, our brother up north of the border in Canada, pushing the line out there. Everybody else, the international quiet storm, day one, okay? Gatekeeper. Thanks for stand at the door to make sure that if it's some bullshit, you throw them out, Uncle Phil style. But with that being said, I am out. I'll catch you all the next time. Good luck and God bless.